Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming in miniatures, as promised. I've been pretty much working diligently on my figures over the last couple of days because I do have a role-playing game session planned for the 16th of May. And so what I'm doing is, that's just the start. And so I want to have my figures done by at least so that we can use them to play in the role-playing game, but also so that I can start demonstrating the rules and showing you how to, play the game and some of the nuances. But in today's episode of Wargaming Miniatures, I'm going to take my two Thomahawks right here that I showed off in, that I painted in our last video, right? And I'm going to attach something that's really cool. The Palladium and Ninja Division did something really cool when they created this Robotech RPG Tactics. What they did was, one of their stretch goals on the Kickstarter was to actually have decals. Okay, let's see if I can get those a little bit well, here, let's take one out of the package and see if I can't get that a little closer for you so that you can kind of see. I don't know if it even focuses for you. Those are the Robotech RPG Tactics decals. You got the UN Spacey in red and white and black. Then you got the little Macross or whatever you would call that symbol, the UEDF, wings and red Robotech symbol. You got those. You've got a bunch of numbers and letters, and in black, yellow, white, red. You have the little Destroid symbols on the bottom there, where my index finger is down here. You see the little triangular Destroid symbols. And what's cool about those are they paid particular attention to the different Destroids had different symbols. Okay, so knowing this, I know this, you know this, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to refer to our rule book, because I need help remembering which ones actually go on the Thomahawk. Pull the Thomahawk up. It's not the Centrades. Here we go. Thomahawk, right? And not only is it a paint scheme, but also, if you take a quick gander, it shows where all the different decals go. Okay, and that's what I'm using as my reference guide. But where can I put this reference guide? Because my table is completely taken over with paint. I'll put it at my feet, but I'm only going to do one decal at a time, so that's all that matters, right? First of all, let's work on the triangle. The large triangle with no lines underneath it, no lines above it, go on the Thomahawk. So that's the large triangle. Okay, and there should be only one in the front, right there on his cod piece. Okay, so that's the decal we're going to do first. Now, what the purpose of this video is really to show you how to use decals that are super small and that are your traditional water, and these are not rub-on decals like a lot of the new decals are. These are the old traditional soak in the water and place them on the model decals. Okay. All right, when it comes to placing the decals on these models, there's something that I like to use. It's called the Aero Set 2. It's by Aeromaster. What it is, it's a decal formula, and this is a new improved formula, it says. It's setting solution for the decals. And what it says, there's really only two steps, right? It's one, brush aero on the surface. So basically, brush that directly onto the surface where you're going to put the decal, okay? So that when you go to put the decal, I guess a little bit of that is underneath. And what it does is it helps bond the decal to the surface of the model. It also kind of fuses it, and then once the decal is in position, then it says with a soft brush carefully apply arrows on top of the decal, and allow to dry. What it does is it shrinks and compresses the decal so that if there is any imperfections in the model, like divots or cracks, or you're putting a decal over a seam, what it'll do is it'll take that decal and it'll fuse it down into those cracks and crevices. So you'll actually get a decal that looks like it was painted on there, okay, and not actually applied as a decal. I'm sure you've seen a lot of decals that when you put them on, they just look like a sheet of plastic that have been put onto the model. So we're going to try to avoid that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my UN Spacey decal sheets, right, and I'm going to cut out 2 of the triangles, 1 for each of these. Now you can use scissors or you can use an X-Acto knife. And today I'm going to use an X-Acto knife to cut out my 2 decals. Now I want to cut them out kind of together. I want these 2 to be together because I'm going to apply them both pretty much at the same time. Pretty much. Understand that there's a lot of plastic that's around the decal, and you don't necessarily want that plastic. Wait a second. There was a protective plastic sheet over these decals. That was a little extra effort, and I appreciate that from the guys at Palladium and Ninja Division. So what I'm saying is when you cut the decal out, you want to cut it out as close to the actual picture as possible, but also remember to give yourself a little room to play with the decal. But that's another reason why I have my tweezers, so that I can play with these decals. Now I'm going to cut the decal surface, I'm going to rephrase that. I'm going to cut close to the decal picture, but only breaking the surface of the plastic decal material and not the paper beneath. This way I have 2 separate decals, but they're still kind of on the same piece of paper. Alright, now I'm going to take my distilled water, or what do you call it, filtered water, and I'm going to put a bunch of drops into my palette. I don't know if you saw that. Put these models a little bit off to the side because you don't need to see that right now. There, I put my distilled water. It's even beaded up. It's bubbled up. Okay, that's nice. Now I take these decals, and with the tweezers, I'm going to hold. Ooh, bounced all over the place. Oh, wait, before I do that, I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun. I'm going to use some Arrow Set for my models. I'm going to apply and it really stinks like, I don't know what you would call it, like almost like turpentine or whatever. It's got a very pungent smell. Okay, both of those have their where I'm placing the decals covered with the Arrow Set right there, and that's eaten into the plastic and the paint and everything. Not terribly. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a subtle difference. Okay, now I'm going to hold this pretty tightly, and I'm going to submerge these decals under water. And traditionally you would count to about a minute or something like that. But I think what the new standard is, when the paper turns completely wet, then you know the decal is ready to go. And I don't even know if you're going to be able to see when we apply the decal. So let's put the model right there, I guess. And then what I do is, okay, the paper's starting to curl. That's a good thing. With everything out of the way, I'm going to use my paintbrush to slide the model off of the decal. Slide the decal off the decal paper. Okay, it doesn't want to come yet, so my guess is it hasn't soaked long enough. It could also be that it didn't cut all the way through the plastic. But let's try again. Starting to move. Okay, now it's almost in position. There we go. Now there's going to be too much water. Okay, there's going to be too much water and it's going to slip and slide around. Obviously, once you get it into the position that you want it in, you're going to need to take a little piece of paper towel, and you're going to want to take the model where the decal's at, and you're going to dab all the water off. What that does, because there's water that's underneath, just let the paper towel absorb the water. Okay, and then what I would like to do personally is I apply just a little bit of paper towel pressure onto the decal, just with my thumb, usually straight down pressure, just to get all the water bubbles out from underneath the decal. So be careful not to pick the decal up with the paper towel. So then you got the decal. Is it focusing? It doesn't look like it's focusing. And you got the decal right there on the crotch. Okay. Then you go back to the arrow set. And you give it a little dab of arrow set. And you let that dry. Okay, now while it's doing that, let's go ahead and reapply some arrow set on the model, the second model. Just because I don't want to make sure it was on there when I apply the decal. Now we go with the second decal. I'm going to put it back in the water a little bit because I think it might have dried a little bit. Never know. And I think it's ready. I don't know if you could see that, but I'm doing it upside down, so you might be able to. While there's still water, you just arrange the decal to exactly where you want it. Okay. Use your paper towel to soak up any excess water. also allows the decal to lay flush against the plastic of the model or the paint. Okay. And I like to apply a little bit of thumb pressure down. Not a whole lot, just a touch. These are small decals. And they get smaller. This is probably the largest of the decals. Okay, now that it's laid flush, I apply a little arrow set onto the surface of it. That was probably way too much. And now you got the decal on the crotch. I don't know if you can see that. All right. So those two, and that's how you apply the decals. So now let me go back and apply the rest of the decals, and then we'll show you the finished product. All right, I have finished placing the decals on there. Now I've also went one additional step, and I actually made some labels and applied them. I used an Excel spreadsheet, and I just printed them off, cut them out, and used Elmer's glue to glue them onto the back. If you take a look real close, you'll see like this is T1, right? That's Thomahawk 1, and then you've got T2, which is not Terminator 2, it's Thomahawk 2. And then you have, if you take a close look at your Thomahawk models, you're going to see, let me see if I can get something to point this out to you. You're going to see, I don't know, is the light actually screwed up? No, there we go. Okay, so you've got your bay door decals. I don't know if you can see those. There you go. Bay door decals. You've got your D7 decal. You have the Destroid decal. You have the Robotech decal. Now, something I did notice on these models, the Robotech decal should be right there where that black spot is. That is a hole in the model. I mean, it's a cupped out area. You would need to either fill it with putty to level that out, or if you put the decal in there, it would sit down inside this hole. And I didn't like that, so I just went ahead and put it over there. Okay, now you do not see the little numbers that go on the bottom of these panels right here. And the reason why that is they're just way too small, and I don't want to deal with that right now. Okay, so now on the back you have the D7, the Macross Robotech symbol there. You have the, now I made these guys Armor Division 5. I used the, the Triangle 5 triangle. And yeah, so that's the first model. Second model, you got the, woo, I'm off camera. Wait, there we are. Destroid, Robotech, D7, bay door, warning signs, I guess. D7, Robotech, A5A, basically. Yep, and that is, they are finished. Finito. Okay, so I'm going to let you, I'm going to zoom into those and let you kind of just take a look at them. Move them around a little bit so you can kind of see. Can't wait to do some of the other models. My Army only has 2 Thomahawks. It has what's called an area denial unit, and an area denial unit has, let's see if I can take that out. Area denial unit has 2 Tomahawks and 2 Defenders. So that's an area denial unit. And I have one of those in my Army. So half of that unit's done. Alright, well I appreciate you coming out and checking out these videos, and remember to like and subscribe, and I'll continue pumping these models out until we get a workable role-playing group together, and see you next time.